Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we will be working with a lab on Azure AD Identity Protection. So to add here the identity protection here, you don't see it normally. You need to go to the search and you need to add that. So I'm just searching here as identity. You see here identity. So I can see here Azure AD Identity Protection and I can click on that. So the blade is coming up here. And I can pin it if really needed. Here it's pinned to my dashboard too. Now this is the overview section where you have the complete dashboard. If you have already configured, it will be showing you here how many risky users are detected or risky configured policies and all that information, including the sign-in risks and also your score on identity score. Currently it is configured, score is 28 out of 203, which is Microsoft recommendation. Now as we talked earlier, there are two different categories where we configure. So simple, one would be the user risk, other one would be the sign-in risk. The first one is the user risk. We will have a look on it. So user risk is need to be configured. Uh, I'm sure that not all the user accounts will have the Azure P2 license. Definitely, so you may have to scope it for this. If you want to apply for all users, that's well and good, and you have that means you have the P2 license. If you don't have the P2 license, and you can click here and select the specific group of users, for example, whatever the group, for example, in my case, if I have MFA enabled users group, this is the group. In the last demo we actually enabled P2 license, so we can select that group, for example. So in my case I'm just choosing as the all users, and here you can exclude any of the user accounts that do not want to apply the specific policy. So here all users selected, and now the condition is coming. So in within this condition is selected. Here what kind of risk is, so I need to select here 3 radio buttons. Out of this, one radio button to be chosen. One is medium and above, or low and above. So if I found this is a risky user, that means medium and above, if I treat, it's all depends on based on the sign-in risk, it will be automatically calculated. So it was not clearly mentioned what is treated as the high and low and medium, but it's a meaningful that if you try to start with the medium and above, then it will be good, and you can select that medium and above, click done. So I did configured user risk. Now it's a time for control. So the first one is the assignment. For all the users, the risk is treated as the medium and above. And controls are what kind of access you want to grant, whether you want to allow the user, if so, how you're gonna allow them to change the password. But we are enabling to allow the access, but we are also requesting them to change the password. So I'll just select this, and the policy now I need to choose from off to on to enforce the policy, and click on save. Now the user risk policy is enabled. Now the next one would be I can work with the sign-in risk policy. So the policy is already configured. Now I'm gonna work with the sign-in risk policy. Here I can say this should be again the same process, like you want to allow for only specific AD group or for all users. If you have the Azure AD Premium 2 license, you can take as all users. If not, you can also exclude the specific groups. So in my case, all users, and conditions, I'm saying that here again, medium and above I'm choosing for the signing specific risk also. And coming back to the control, I wanted this time, if the user is trying to sign in, I wanted it to be challenged with the multi-factor authentication. Now you might be getting a thought process, what's the major difference between here signing for sign-in risk as well as for the user risk? So the difference between these two are, user risk is, that means the user ID and the password might be known in the darknet, or maybe over the internet it was compromised. So the so hackers knows the username and passwords in the known database. So Microsoft will purchase these known information, or they use the known usernames and passwords to always they update. They have their own mechanism to always check it, these common passwords, common compromised user IDs of all the organizations, and they update their database. If they found that, then here in the user risk, it is asking us to change the user IDs, change the password actually. That's the major difference. So whereas with the sign-in risk, it is actually proving, it is asking us to prove with the multi-factor authentication as the next level of challenge. So that's what I'm going to enable here. That's the sign-in risk. I can save. So that's a major difference. I clicked on save, so it will take some time to save maybe. Yeah, it's saved. So here, that's a major difference between the user risk and sign-in risk. So user risk means the user credentials got compromised. It might be available somewhere for sale, and it got compromised. You might hear sometimes so many usernames and passwords got already available over the internet in a darknet. um, that's how they seal it, right, hackers. So similar way, if it was compromised, this kind of user ID and password, then it is asking us to change the password as a mandatory here to change the password. So that's a risk, and we configure now. So the user risk as well as the sign-in risk we configured. Now Mfa registration policy also we're gonna set it here. So this is a policy for all users, and controls require MFA, and I'm going to enforce this policy. So clicking on save, that would actually configures for MFA enabling if it is any risk found. Now if I go back to my risk reports, I should be able to see here if I found any of the risky users. Similarly, any of the risky sign-ins I should be able to find here. And the risk detections and more information can be found here. And also you can configure under users risk detections with the alerts, and also weekly digest also you can configure. So now we will be trying to simulate. Now we configured what to be done, what kind of policies to be available, and what kind of action to be automatically taken in a real time. For demonstrating purpose, I will be logging, I will be opening a private mode of the browser, and I will try to open myapps.microsoft.com with an user account called Daniel Craig account, and let's see what will happen for this user account. So Daniel Craig account and password to be entered. So I'll just enter the password. That's fine. Whether save or not, that's fine. So it was not challenged anything here. Now the same account, if I try to uh, log in from Brazil, what would happen? Let's see. This is a mission from a different location altogether, from a Brazil. So the earlier we logged from India, now this is from Brazil. So let's open like myapps.microsoft.com. Here I can enter the user ID and the password. Now see this. Now it is asking me to enter the multi-factor authentication, where I need to enter for that specific user the multi-factor authentication ID. So the code which is showing on my phone. So I entered that, I have verified, and then it is allowed me to log in. If you see in the Azure portal, there's no events got logged in as a risk because it was successfully validated by the end user of that challenge that was asked to prove with the multi-factor authentication, and it was successful. So there was nothing has been happened, and no events got generated here so far. So I can refresh and show you one more time. There are no events here as a risk. Now the same thing we will be trying to do with the Tor browser. Let's see that demo. I have on my Brazil machine a Tor browser got installed. So as you know that Tor will be a circling, so it's not going to connect from the same network. If you see here, it is actually coming from Canada with the tool. So that's why it is asking me to prove as a human all those. So let me actually go to my apps.microsoft.com, giving the same user ID, learn in my lab for Daniel account, and then a password. So now also we will be challenged with MFA, and it says a suspicious activity detected, and we have detected something unusual about the sign-in. For example, you might be signing from a new location or device or app. Before you can continue, we need to verify your identity. So this is altogether a suspicious activity because we're trying to log in from Tor browser, where it is actually circling as a circuit from different countries like Canada, Germany, Romania, and then it's going to the required Microsoft site. So it is asking us to verify. Now we got three different options. You see here, approve a request on Microsoft app authenticator, or use a verification code, or just a text message. So if I can't do it, I can't proceed further. So it's a real time. So this is where you have the protection directly for the sign in. So I can say that I want to prove myself. As soon as I approve it in my mobile, it is actually coming up saying that, hey, you must have to update your change the password, because since someone else may have access your account, you need to choose to a new password. Don't use the same password. So that's the configuration which is popping up. So changing the password now to sign in further and see what happens. So I'm able to see the application. So this is how it works. If you just go to the Identity Protection Manager specific to the dashboard, you can see now there is a one count was initiated under user risk. And if I just go to the risky users, or also if you see here the count and protection, protect 11 times, these are the fully automated because of the configured policy was taken action, and whatever the count number of counts it has come up, so all that has been automatically remediated. So let's go to the risk specific. Now this is the user risk specific. So uh, I'll just run here once again the policy. So we said if it is a risky user, then require the change password, and also we did in fact it was asked for us to change the password. Now let's see whether this will report or not. Here this is nothing showing, because the reason being it has been automatically already remediated with the help of the policy. So if I just filter and show you here with the remediate specific, then I should be able to see Daniel Craig account, and he tried to access, and the user performed secure password change. So the risk state is currently remediated. So if you confirm that, I mean, this is complete process is fully automated, and you want to take some kind of action, you can still take like confirm user compromise, or you can dismiss user risk. It all depends on the action can taken from the Azure admin. Let's also check from the risky sign-in what happened. If you see here, by default risk state is only confirmed and compromised, but if you want to uh, locate the remediate purpose, you might see some other logs, like here if I can see here, the one is Daniel Craig's account, which is coming from the Brazil location with the IP address as this, and it got remediated. So these are the detailed information you can check out from the risky users as well as the risky sign-in. If you want this information automatically to get an email, you can actually look at here and configure the required email ID. So in my case, I can configure here as the email IDs which are configured, so that the user will get automatically all the required high specific risk only it is coming. If I want, this should come for low and medium. Based on that, it will start coming up these alerts. And also you can go for weekly digest, where the weekly report will be sent to you. So here you can include the required email IDs. So in our case, we have already configured these two, which are in fact it's by default for the access specific to this, it was already included. So this is the dashboard side view. Since I have very less data to show you, I would like to show you more data from my other tenant Active Directory, so that you know how it looks like. So if you see here, you can take the multiple actions by selecting and confirm compromised or such actions. Also, you can filter and you can perform the actions with the multiple selections can be performed. So you have here the identities score, as well as the risky sign-in and risky user specific, and all these configurations. Except the protection, you see the reporting also available in other place. Let me show you that also. If you go to Azure Active Directory and the security, if I just go to security, and then this is where we used to configure even conditional access, right? So the same place you have here report specific risky users and risky sign-in, risky detection. So you get even here the same specific information.